Okay, guys, today on science, we're going to learn about how our offsprings like their parents. Offsprings, that's a weird word, right? Offsprings is the same as saying daughter or son of someone. For example, you have your parents. So you and your brother or sister are the offsprings of your parents. Okay? Before we start, as always, we need to copy our vocabulary words. So take out your science notebooks and take out also your big books. You're going to need them. But right now, your notebooks. Open them on the page. Get ready. Okay. Okay. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. So you have to copy the date. And I know you're going to ask. Yes, you can do in pen the title and the date, and also vocabulary and the words. But the definitions, I want them in pencil, guys. Okay? You can pause the video to copy. Our first vocabulary word is inherit, to receive from a parent. You have some traits we're going to learn about them, about some behaviors that are inherent. And we have instinct. It's a behavior that an animal is born able to do. We're going to learn about them in this section. I recall for you. You can pause the video to copy, okay? Okay, right now I want you to go and grab a snack. You can bring, I don't know what you have on your house. It can be a little juice or a popcorn because we're going to watch two videos together. Okay, are you ready? In number one, we're going to learn about innate behavior. What is innate behavior? Innate behavior is a behavior, is something that you are born to know how to do. For example, breathing. Nobody teach you how to breathe. Breathing is an innate behavior. We're going to learn more about them in the video. Okay, let's start.
Innate behaviour is behaviour that you are born with, behaviour which you inherit because it is in your DNA. It is instinctive behaviour. For example, a spider knows how to spin a web as soon as it is born, or a baby can suckle, because it is instinctive. The behaviour is intrinsic, which means it will be present even if an animal is raised on its own, without parents or others of its species to teach it. It is also stereotypical, which means the behaviour will be performed the same way each time. Innate behaviour is thought to be inherited through genes, and it can't be changed by the individual. It is inflexible. It can be very complex and it does not have to be learned. It will be fully developed from birth. Innate behaviour is beneficial, and because it is encoded in DNA, it is subject to natural selection. This means that over time, the genes that cause the best behaviour will become more common among the individuals of a species. A reflex is an example of innate behaviour, like when you automatically pull away your hand from something that is hot. You don't have to think about it, you didn't have to learn to do it. As a human, it's just something that you do. A scientist named Lagerspetz tried to prove that innate behaviour has a genetic base by selecting very aggressive mice and breeding them together. Aggressive mice would cross an electrified grid to attack an opponent, or would choose an opportunity to fight rather than remain peaceful. The results were compared to a control of mice with non-aggressive genetic lines. The results showed that a few genes affect variation in fighting behavior. When aggressive mice were bred together, aggressive offspring were produced. Winning enhanced fighting behavior of aggressive animals, but not of initially non-aggressive animals. However, it's difficult to find purely innate behavior because a lot of an animal's behavior is the result of an interaction between genes and the environment. Environmental conditions can alter innate behavior. So, there are 5 characteristics of innate behavior that you need to remember. 1. It is heritable, so it's passed on through DNA. 2. It's intrinsic, so it will be present in animals that are raised in isolation from mothers. 3. It is stereotypic, so the behavior will perform the same way every time. 4. It is inflexible, so it never changes, even because of experience. And finally, it is consummate. The behavior is fully developed or expressed at first performance. So, innate behavior is a pattern of inherited or preset behavior that doesn't require learning or practice.
That was a great video, right, guys? Video number 1 that we learned about innate behavior. Now, we're going to learn about learned behavior. Learned behavior is something that someone else teach you how to do. For example, walking. Your mom and dad teach you how to walk, right?
Learned behavior is based on experience. It is acquired only through observation, so it wouldn't be present in animals raised alone, without others of their species to observe, and it isn't coded in DNA. Individuals learn a behavior if they have previously gained a benefit from the behavior, and a learned behavior can be improved and refined through practice. When you hear the school bell ring and you go to your lesson, you are performing a learned behavior. When you hear the bell, you know it signals that it's time to go to your next class because you have learnt to do it, by repeating the same action in response to the stimulus, so you won't get in trouble. Learned behavior is different throughout the population and is affected by the environment. For example, a dolphin can learn to perform and jump through a hoop. This behavior has been affected by the dolphin's environment. It is being taught by a trainer, and it knows that if it jumps through the hoop, it will receive a reward. A wild dolphin wouldn't necessarily know to jump through a hoop if presented with one. Learned behavior has 5 characteristics. It is non-inheritable, so it isn't passed on from previous generations. It is only acquired through observation or experience. 2. It is not intrinsic, so absent in animals raised in isolation from others. 3. It is permutable. This means that the pattern or sequence may change, the order of things might swap around. 4. It is adaptable, so it can be changed to suit conditions. And 5. It is progressive, so can be performed and refined through practice. Habituation is a type of learned behavior. If an individual is repeatedly exposed to a stimulus, the response decreases and the individual becomes habituated. In other words, you get used to it and you learn to ignore the stimulus. This can happen when wild animals continually come into contact with humans. Over time, their frightened flight response will decrease. This process is called habituation. Imprinting is another type of learned behavior, where a very young animal fixes its attention on the first thing it hears, sees, or touches. The animal then follows the object around, which is usually its parent. So, to recap, learned behavior is not inherited. It is not intrinsic, so wouldn't be present in animals raised in isolation. It may change over time, and adapt or improve, and sequences might change. Learned behavior is learned from other individuals, the opposite of innate behavior.
Okay, let's talk about the videos. They were amazing, right? In number 2, we learn about learned behavior also. Both of these behaviors, you can look at them at yourself. And if you have little brothers or sisters, you can look at them. For example, nobody teach your little brother or sister how to breathe because that is an innate behavior. But you have to teach them how to walk and talk. That is a learned behavior. Perfect. Now that we understand, go grab your notebooks again, and we're going to answer some questions. Okay? Some questions. We're going to answer them to see how well we understand. Okay? Number 1. What is innate behavior? That's right. Innate behavior are things animals do by instinct. That is how it is called. Instinct. Okay, now let's give 2 examples of them. Can you give me one? Perfect, that's right. Let's write them down. I will give you some that I have. Spiders have the instinct to build webs. Nobody teach them how to build webs. They already know how to do it. And number 2, humans have the instinct to breathe. I told you this example like 2 times. Okay? Now, you can pause the video if you need to copy, don't worry. Question number 2. What is learned behavior? That's right. Learned behavior are things animals learn how to do because someone teaches them how to do it. Now, let's give 2 examples of learned behavior. That's right. Let's see. I have number 1, birds learn how to do their nest. Their parents actually teach them how to build them. And number 2, humans learn how to brush their teeth. Your mom and dad teach you how to brush your teeth perfectly every morning, in the middle of the day, and at night. Okay? This is it for today for science. I love you, Miss Amores, and trust me, I miss you a lot. Have an amazing day.